and then get out. Fight it. Fight the professor.
So let me be clear, though, because you're not the only one that has challenged me on this, and I'm actually very, very open to listening to what you have to say. I'm talking about very, very unique circumstances. I'm talking about, it is so hard. But, all right, if we start with the idea, and this comes from the Latin derivative, I did learn Latin. I did go to a seminary, high school, and we did study theology. I did go to mass every day, but one of the few words I remember in Latin is educare, education, to bring forth from within. I think that's predicated on a belief that everybody is born with God's talent. Everybody that I know that's a fireman, a policeman, a teacher, a doctor, every one of them, without exception, a nurse, they are called to do so. It's been a dream of theirs, a pilot. They're called to do so. They've wanted to do it their whole life. So I'm talking about very specific, unique circumstances where people have this desire, this calling that they want to serve and be a teacher or a doctor.
How you doing?
And they want to get into medical school
or
law school or business school or postgraduate school. And they know if they have one of these crazy left-wing teachers and they challenge them, that it is going to significantly, one bad grade can make the difference between getting into that school and not. I'm not going to condemn the kid that says, all right, I'll play the game. I know I'm playing a game, and I'm not gonna be critical of them for doing that. If kids have the freedom, now I made the choice in college myself to fight my teacher. The guy that said he's a Marxist and communist.
Okay.
And it took up the entire, second half of the semester because I couldn't take it anymore. And Reagan was president. We thought about Reagan. The guy, everyone was like rolling their eyes every time I'd start in with the guy. So I hope you understand I'm talking about a very unique circumstance when people are pursuing their calling in life. And I don't think I explained it as well as I meant it. And if you still disagree with me, tell me.
Yes, I do still disagree with you. I am a critical care registered nurse. And what I will say is, what you went through many, many, many years ago, it's changed now. Charlie made a movement. He caused a movement.
They want me to go right up to the turnpike. Okay.
They're on a roll. And I want them to keep being on a roll. I want them to be outspoken. I want them to express themselves. And I want you to back them up and do what Charlie would have done.
Well, one way to back them up, and this is part of Turning Point that I really support, is they have for high school kids and for college kids, what do you do? How do you fight back against woke teachers and indoctrination? I would urge kids to go to the Turning Point website and learn.
That always sucks.
And that is an alternative for sure. I would say that's a great option. I agree with you.
I think that, you can respectfully disagree with your professor, and if he still causes you problems, you can take it to the proper authorities. And if worse comes to worse, Sean, take the class over. I am a critical care nurse. I've done this my whole life. It's all I ever wanted to do. But there is no way I would have put up with a teacher preventing me or confronting me with a Marxist attitude. We have to keep this going. We have to keep this going.
Listen, I love your fight. I'm mostly agreeing with you. I'm just not going to be critical of the kid that has a dream.
I'm just saying it sucks when that happens. Technical difficulties.
I hope that answers your question. 800-941-SEAN is our number, and people make great points on this. It's just so hard. I've seen this for kids to get into some of these post college programs. It's so competitive, especially like medical school. Listen, I want to tell you, a new discovery found a massive trove of gold coins in the Czech Republic, minted by a long-lost civilization. Now, it's from before the 2nd century BC. They also found silver coins among the artifacts. I mean, the proof is there. Not only have gold and silver been valued for thousands and thousands of years, but they can physically last that long as well. And just another one of the many reasons that we proudly have partnered with the award-winning company Gold Co. And by the way, I'm a customer just like many of you are. They sell gold and silver. They're great at what they do. They want informed investors. That's why they'll send you their 2025 gold and silver kit for free. Give them a call, 855-815-GOLD. Or go to the website,
Oh, someone got toilet paper.
They'll also tell you how you can get 10% in free bonus silver. It's the best silver offer that's out there. Again, 855-815.
I ain't seen that done in a long time.
HannityGold.com. One more time, 855-815-GOLD. HannityGold.com today.
Storms don't wait. Neither should you. This year, we've seen it all. Supply chain chaos, rising prices, the power grid pushed to the brink. Each time a disaster strikes, the shelves go empty fast. That's why being prepared isn't panic, it's protection. Right now, for National Preparedness Month, 4 Patriots is doing something they've never done before. When you buy a 3-month survival food kit, you'll get 2 additional months absolutely free. That's 5 full months of delicious, shelf-stable meals designed to last 25 years and proudly hand-packed in America. Now, that's peace of mind you can count on. Because when the roads are flooded, when the power's out, when there's no food on the shelves, you'll either have what you need or you won't. Don't wait for the next emergency. Go now to 4patriots.com. That's the number 4patriots.com. And get 2 free months of survival food before this deal disappears. You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. Open Phone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. Open Phone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place. So that
357, good to see you, buddy.
Customer experience from ring to need to take calls on the go? Open Phone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With Open Phone's AI call types, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with Open Phone. Open Phone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Open Phone for free at openphone.com/patriot and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/patriot. openphone.com/PATRIOT.
This is Patriot. But today we celebrate the core values that built this country: freedom, hard work, risk-taking, and above all, we trust in Almighty God. Conservative principles live here. Sirius XM Patriot.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Steve Peters in Washington. The Federal Reserve cut its key interest rate by a 1/4 point Wednesday and projected it would do so twice more this year, as concern grows at the central bank about the health of the nation's labor market. The move is the Fed's first cut since December and lowered its short-term rate to about 4.1%. Top congressional Democrats on Tuesday rejected a short-term Republican plan to fund the government until November.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, both of New York, call on Republicans to come to the table and negotiate a bipartisan agreement. It also extends expanded tax credits for people to get their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act, which is due to expire at the end of this year. Democrats voted more than a dozen times to extend federal funding with short-term clean continuing resolutions. Former President Joe Biden was in office and they controlled the Senate. But now they're drawing a hard line on what ordinarily would be a non-controversial funding proposal. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
President Trump was greeted in spectacular fashion at Windsor Castle, kicking off a 2-day state visit to Britain.
The President and First Lady were greeted first by Prince William and his wife Catherine at the 1,000-year-old Castle estate, and then by King Charles and Queen Camilla. The pageantry included a horse-drawn carriage procession, military honor guards, and mounted troops. Later, the President and First Lady visited St. George's Chapel, where they laid a wreath at the tomb of Queen Elizabeth II.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston says the day will conclude with an elaborate state banquet. Utah Valley University students are returning to classes Wednesday for the first time since an assassin struck down conservative activist Charlie Kirk in an attack that stunned the nation. On Wall Street, the Dow by 260 points. More on these stories at townhall.com. The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Every day I speak with people who are worried and are feeling a lot of pressure because of credit card debt. That's why I'm very proud of what we do at Trinity. We just help. We give people the support they need along with a real plan to become debt-free. Credit card bills are consolidated into a single monthly payment that is much less than what they were paying before. Most of our members end up saving thousands and even may improve their credit scores by as much as 200 points. I know from the bottom of my heart that I'm making a difference in the lives of the people we help. It just makes me really happy.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Julie, and I'm a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
Ukraine expects to have a $3.5 billion fund soon to buy weapons from the U.S.
The fund is known as the Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List. It pools contributions from NATO members, excluding the U.S., to purchase American weapons. President Volodymyr Zelensky mentioned that the first shipments will include missiles for Patriot air defense systems and munitions for rocket launchers. A U.S. Ukraine fund to boost
Hello.
Hello. Hey, what they have to say? Anything?
Oh, just about the itch. She's like, that breed, he's a growing boy. His skin is stretching. Because she doesn't see any actually contact reactions going on with him or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, she, said, it's, we just started giving them some kind of, she's like, those generally don't work. She said, but you're go for it if you want. She's like, the Benadryl. She goes, unless the itching is just driving you nuts, you just want him to go CP. I said, well, basically, I said, well, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. We just get tired of it eventually. He gets the dose. She's like, that's fine as long as you're giving him the weight appropriate. She's like, 125 milligram tablet. I'm like, that's exactly what we give him. Hang on, I gotta hold up my tingy for the easy pass. So I got those things in the mail, but they're sitting there on the coffee table to remount this. Come on, easy pass. Dude, it's fuck. Do not stop. It literally says, do not stop. You don't look at this dumb bitch. It says, do not stop. Go. Go. You don't need to. You just read the sign. Mine's accepted. No, she does. It's an old lady. She's confused. She's going to Indiana. This is do not stop. Pay at exit. So they got a shot of your license plate, lady. You're good. But yeah, anyway, as far as fixing them, she's recommending closer to a year old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's like, this breed. She goes, unless he starts getting aggressive with the other dogs. I said, well, he plays with them constantly. I said, today was actually the first time I ever seen him guard a toy. I said, but it was a new toy. She's stopping. Jesus Christ, dude. You're once you're on the entrance, you're on the entrance, lady. I feel bad for her. She's confused. She looks old. But still, the sign literally says, do not stop. I got a fucking 2-hour drive. 3 hours of work. In fact, I got to switch over from green screens to. But yeah, besides that, she's like, he's good till next year, or until you guys want to decide you want to get it done. She goes, of course, we'll make it happen as soon as possible. If you guys decide, she goes, if she won't do it till he's 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so she goes. So let's look beginning of the year. She goes, because everyone goes on vacation in December.
Yeah.
I said, that's fine. I said, I'll keep you updated. I said, it's going to be more about a behavior issue. She's like, the spot, unless he's lifting his leg to mark, it's not it's not a hormonal behavior. If he's just squatting and piddling, it's because he has to go out. He didn't warn you. So all right. Well, we'll just watch this. As we're going to have to pay a little bit more attention. Because, I told her that we finally started letting him out back with the other dogs. He's loving it. She goes, no, you're loving it because it's wearing him out. So, yeah, kind of. All right. Well, that's it.
Okay. All right. He's passed out. He came in the house while I was on the phone and took a big ass shit. And then now he's passed out.
Of course he did. All right. Well, love you.
All right. Love you.
If you need anything, give me a shout.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Sorry I got that. Hey, Northwest. It's been a while, man. How's it going? Good to see you. Yeah, we're heading out to Cleveland. Checking in with the boss. The boss that matters anyway.
In addition, a Russian glide bomb struck a town in the southern Kherson region. News and analysis at townhall.com from Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me. I want to make sure they can stay in the house and still go to college if I'm not around. Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. That's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. They needed to know my family would be financially secure if the worst happened. Honestly, I keep putting this off. It seems like a huge hassle. Ethos made it easy. I got it done in about 10 minutes all online. No medical exams, just had to answer a few health questions. Wait, that's it? How much are we talking? It's affordable. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. And Ethos can get you your lowest rate across their trusted carriers. It will give you some peace of mind. I know I sleep better at night. I never realized getting life insurance could be that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/apply. That's ethos.com/apply. ethos.com/apply. Rates may vary. Build multi-sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking man. Stuck in a job that just isn't getting it done? Maybe it's time to go for IT. Whether you're just starting out, switching careers, or a military veteran ready for change, My Computer Career can help you launch a rewarding career in IT in months. No prior experience needed. Why spend years getting a traditional degree when your future in IT can start right now? Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu today. Your most powerful upgrade? Your career. Go for it. Go for IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits. With AI, business is moving faster than ever. Get ahead of the pack at Oracle AI World, October 13th through 16th in Las Vegas. See real-world AI innovations powering leading businesses, build practical skills with experts, and get ideas you can put to work on day one to boost productivity, cut costs, and accelerate growth. 4 days, one destination to retool your strategy with AI. Seats are limited. Register now at oracle.com/AI World. Oracle.com/AI World. That grant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours. Me disagreeing with you, me calling you, want to be Hitler, all those things are not necessarily saying go out and hurt somebody. Although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you're not welcome here.
And the day you move out of the city, or with the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city, freedom is back in style. Welcome to the revolution. More behind-the-scenes information on breaking news, more bold-inspired solutions for America. Stay right here for our final news roundup and information overload. All right, news roundup and information overload. Our toll-free number is 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. It's incredible the reaction. I've spoken to a lot of young people and how they've been impacted at this political assassination of Charlie Kirk. And I said this earlier in the week and last week that, in all the years I've been doing this, my kids only wanted to meet two people. Of all the people that I've interviewed, all the people that I know, although they do like professional athletes, especially my son, but the two people politically were President Trump and Charlie Kirk. And my son did get to meet and spend time with Charlie, and it meant a lot to him. And I wanted to bring back to the program two young people that have been on before, Isabel Brown and Catalina Lauf. They'll join us in a second. I saw that Isabel actually put out, thinking back last week, I am so moved by the fact that much of his quiet free time in the green room with me, he was talking about heaven. As people of faith, we know that death is, something that, I can't actually read this because I can't see it all, but when someone is pure and robbed of life so prematurely, but I rejoice in prayer today that even though we've lost Charlie, he's more alive than we are in a fullness of our Savior and his anchor in heaven, which I thought was extremely eloquent and beautifully written. One of the things that really stood out to me is Charlie would go into these hostile environments on college campuses, knowing that they're hostile environments, and he'd take on all comers. He did it cheerfully, did it with a smile on his face. He'd be called every name in the book. You're a Nazi. You're a racist. You're a fascist. Okay, give me one example. You're a Nazi. You're a racist. You're a fascist. They could never give him an example, and they look stupid. I mean, this is the type of thing, honestly, if these schools were not indoctrination centers, this should be, vigorous debate happening inside classrooms, but it doesn't happen. It didn't happen when I was going to school. And it's sad because this is an opportunity for the free and open exchange of ideas and principles and opinions, and people should be free to express themselves. And Charlie would challenge, the indoctrination of many and have a profound impact on these young people. And secondarily, many young people that were conservative that felt they had to be quiet on college campuses, it gave them, a sense of validation of what their true views and opinions are. Anyway, we welcome back Isabel Brown and Catalina Lauf are back with us. Thank you both for being here. Isabel, you knew Charlie well. I saw a picture of you and Charlie on the internet at Turning Point. You work with him.
I did, Sean. I've worked with Charlie for about 8 years now, and like many of these students that are so inspired by his courage and his ability to tell the truth under fire, I was one of those college students who started a Turning Point USA chapter on my campus at Colorado State University in 2017, and I just have had so many wonderful memories come back this last year of all of the times Charlie spoke life into me and so many other young conservatives who have a national platform now by giving us an opportunity to join him in this fight to tell the truth. And as mentioned in reading my Instagram caption there a few moments ago, I was so privileged to be able to share the stage with Charlie at a pro-life speaking event about 2 weeks ago today, actually, on the dot. One of his last speeches here on this earth, and I've mentioned there what he wanted to talk about more than anything else backstage as we spent some time catching up and hanging out like old times was God and his faith, and we spent quite a bit of time talking about heaven, which translated into his speech for the crowd there as well. He was so peacefully rooted in his calling from God and his vocation from the Holy Spirit to show up and tell the truth, and I know he carried that same vocation with him through that event at Utah Valley University as well.
You know, I spent a lot more time this weekend looking at videos of Charlie, and because I'm so wrapped up in doing 4 hours of broadcasting every day, it's almost completely all consuming. And so many things that he said and was saying to young people was so impressive. You know, Catalina, you know, God forbid you have somebody on a college campus mention God, or encouraging young people to go to church, or encouraging people not to be part of hookup culture, or encouraging people, you know, not to be the stupid kid thrown off in the bushes or doing drugs, and finding the spiritual side of your life. And even when you would go out, or if you're a guy, you would take a girl out, you would respect her, you would pay for your date, you'd open the door. And he described his own experience with Erica as, you know, he called it an interview process, wanting to find, you know, the purpose of dating, to find a potential mate. And I found that very encouraging, and telling people, you know what, don't be part of hookup culture. You know, this is something blessed and sacred, and you don't hear that often on college campuses. Probably the only time some of these kids heard it was from him.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Sean. You know, he was a big brother so many young men in particularly needed. And I know that firsthand, because when I first heard about Charlie, it was back in 2013. You know, I'd watched grow up, I babysat them. They were still in middle school and high school at the time, thinking about college. And I'm sure that in politics, and specifically supporting young candidates because of Charlie's advice to support young people in the political space. And that just shows, you know, Charlie's impact was generational, and it will continue. And it's just absolutely devastating for all of us in this, all around. You know, I get messages from people who said, I've never spoken out, I've never had the courage to, but because of what happened, I feel the need to now. And so it's up to our generation to carry that torch forward and to live Charlie's legacy in not only a positive light and bring the good that he did, but also bolder, louder, and stronger to fight against this evil that's infecting our country, especially young minds.
You know, Isabel, as I was watching a lot of these videos this weekend, you know, I sent many of them to my kids, and my son's 26, my daughter just turned 24. She was born 13 days before 9/11. And this generation never experienced 9/11, kids that are in college today. And they have no memory of it because they weren't alive. And this is a watershed moment, I believe, for them. But just the idea that he would tell young women to know your worth, and to put a high price and value on that, and telling young men to be respectful, I just think that those values are timeless.
They absolutely are. You really hit the nail on the head there, Sean, that this is a generationally defining moment. You know, I was born in 1997 on what most people agree is the first year of Generation Z. And I have the very, very faintest singular memory of what 9/11 was like. I just remember my parents staring at the TV all day. But we don't have an intimate experience as a generation to understand this concept of all being under attack, our way of life being under attack, and what that will do to your society on the other side. That you have a choice to come together in true unity, based in truth, and based in this idea that we are one nation under God, or you can let evil continue to fester and continue to become more and more impactful tomorrow and every day after that. But what I think is so impactful about Charlie's death in particular to an entire generation of people that he spoke to, even those who vehemently disagreed with him, is you're right, he's so honed in on this concept of virtue in a generation that so many people had already preemptively written off as too far gone. I've been somewhat of the Gen Z apologist for the last few years, and Charlie has always championed my voice in that regard and has written forwards for my 2 books and given me tons of opportunities to share good news about Generation Z on his show and with his organization, Turning Point USA, for the last few years. But we've been seeing this return to culturally conservative values with young people wanting to get married, wanting to go to church, wanting to speak their mind, wanting to challenge their own preconceived notions and get off of these indoctrinating college campuses, start their own businesses, revive this concept of the American dream. And Charlie saw an opportunity with young people that most of those older than him didn't. I can't tell you how many times I've heard on national TV programming or radio and in programs similar to this one that young people are all, purple-haired, non-binary, insane people that have lost their minds. But Charlie saw something different. He saw a broken generation that simply needed someone to speak life into them and encourage them to embrace virtue in a broken world, with young men returning to chivalry, with young women returning to godliness, and elevating ourselves as dignified in a society trying to commodify us, and with young people everywhere finding our innate dignity as made in the image of God. And of course, it's frustrating to see the vile, vitriolic responses from some of the more radical voices on the left celebrating this death or saying that this is normal somehow. It's not. But I'm blown away number of young people, even those who vehemently disagreed with Charlie during his time here on Earth, who have used the past 6 days or so to look in the mirror and to say, oh, this young man's legacy is so much bigger than electing a president of the United States or reviving the Republican Party. This is about a return to beauty and what's good and true in society, and I want to be a part of that legacy too.
Yeah, pretty amazing. I do believe that Turning Point now will be so much bigger than ever. I had Charlie's pastors on this radio program yesterday, Catalina, and they were amazing people, and they believe, as I do, that Turning Point is just getting started. And when Charlie came up with this idea, I don't think people gave him a lot of thought that there was a huge chance of success, but it was through sheer force of will and dedication that he got people on board to support him and his efforts, and then he did all the hard work. And he traveled to all these hospital environments, and he didn't stop.
Yeah, Charlie, who, I did not know so personal as Isabel and others, but I know he was exceptionally well-read in history, and he knew that the fight was in the schools and in the culture wars, and that's exactly why he created Turning Point USA, and I wanted to bring up history that really highlights that threat. In a 1960 FBI report, J. Edgar Hoover once said, during the past 2 years, quote, communist spokesmen have appeared on nearly 100 campuses from coast to coast. Their purpose to create confusion, raise questions, and spread doubt among our young people concerning American way of life. Quote, he goes on to say that, quote, today the communists are engaged in its intensive campaign to control the minds and win the allegiance of American youth, unquote. Charlie was the counter to that. He was going to hundreds of schools coast to coast and preaching Americanism, God, good cultural values, and he was so effective in that. And think about it, he was born in 1993, and that was a report from 1960. This was decades in the making, and Charlie came in and was a pioneer in a lot of ways, a titan for liberty, to go and basically unravel all of that. And to Isabel's point, and to your point, Sean, preaching good and doing what was right and creating this healthy, friendly debate, this platform for it. And that's why he was so effective and so powerful.
Well, I will say this about both of you, having gotten to know you both now, both Isabel and Catalina, both of you have, that same energy, passion, the same principles, the same values, the same courage as Charlie, and I know that both of you will play a big role in carrying on his mission, and I want to thank you ahead of time for what I know you're going to be a big part of. And what you do for young people, it's incalculable how important it is that they hear the message that both of you are espousing.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you for honoring our beautiful friend's legacy.
It's my pleasure. I knew it pretty well, and I'm heartbroken over the whole thing. It really is heartbreaking. Thank you both.
While the mainstream media is asleep at the wheel, Vanity Watch is on the job, bringing you the news no one else can. Sean Kennedy. I'm Chuck McDowell, and I'm here to help you cancel those outrageous cell phone bills. Ever sign up for one of those too good to be true phone deals? 1 minute you're feeling great, then suddenly you're paying over $1,000 a year. Crazy, right? You know who else thinks that's crazy? Red Pocket Mobile. That's why Red Pocket plans start at just $10 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data with no contracts and no price increases ever. Plus, Red Pocket gives you access to all 3 5G networks. You pick the one that works best where you live or work, or switch anytime for better coverage. Imagine never being stuck with one network again. And with Red Pocket, you keep your phone and your number. Why in the world would you not switch? Red Pocket Mobile, your new ultimate cell carrier. Go to Red Pocket now to pre-order the new iPhone 17 series at up to $200 off. That's redpocket.com. 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 Wesley Financial Group is not an offer. Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we want our own family treatment. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family. Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-854-4040. That's 800-854-4040. 800-854-4040. Attention investors, summer is over and it's time to get down to business. With all the uncertainty in investments, let's take a look at a real gem in real estate. The RV and vacation resort properties industry is the fastest growing sector in real estate today, and the perfect investment to protect your portfolio. Resort properties do well when times are good, and even better with a downturn in the economy. Own the land with no debt, cash flow for weekly and monthly rentals, and appreciation of the land and business. It's a huge opportunity to make money. To learn more, visit the experts at resortpropertiesgroup.com. Resortpropertiesgroup.com. And these vacation resort properties are approved for IRAs, self-directed IRAs, and 401k plans. For the first 10 callers, find out how to get your free 1-week stay at one of our affiliated resorts. Go to resortpropertiesgroup.com or call 888-307-1685. 888-307-1685. Resortpropertiesgroup.com. Individual results may vary. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/news. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack. See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free
That's ZipRecruiter.com/news. That's ZipRecruiter.com/news. ZipRecruiter.com/news. He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago Senator Dick Durbin. And now Dick Durbin has a new scheme, a government takeover of your credit card. Today, consumers have thousands of choices in credit cards, all with equal, strong security. But Durbin's plan is less competition and less security. And that means more risk for your credit and your identity. Tell Republicans in Congress, stop Dick Durbin's takeover of your credit card before it's too late. Freight is moving at Creek Carrier and Schaefer Trucking. We are growing and our customers keep growing with us. If you want to be part of a company that appreciates what you do and rewards you for it, you should check out Creek Carrier Corporation. We're looking for safe drivers that have at least 1 year's experience and take their job seriously. Then we reward you with great pay and some real serious benefits. Freight's moving, so check out Creed and Schaefer today. Go to creekcarrier.com and find the right job for you. Channel 125 and on the Sirius XM app.
Still 2 years ago, terrorists murdered more than 1,200 innocent Israelis, took 250 hostages. Many of these hostages are still being held today. Some are still alive, some are not alive. It's unconscionable we haven't been able to get them back yet. We're getting there, hopefully sooner than later. And it seems like the cries of the dead and the dying have been drowned out by nothing but widespread anti-Semitic hatred. I mean, from the halls of Congress, to college campuses, the punditry class, worldwide rise of anti-Semitism is pretty repulsive. Yet there are those of us that support Israel in their fight, their battle against radical Islamic terrorism, and their right to win their war that was started against them. And a desire by a caliphate, to wipe them out, and that's their stated goal. Anyway, by the way, our friends at the IFCJ, International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, and they have what's coming up is the Flags for Fellowship. It's organized by them. It's October the 5th, a few weeks away. Millions across America will prayerfully plant an Israeli flag in honor and with solidarity of the victims of October 7th, 2023 and their grieving families. You can be a part of this movement as well. You get information about how you can join the Flags of Fellowship movement. Just go to their website. It's ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org today. Quick break. We'll come back. Your calls are straight ahead.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com. On Fox 1, you can stream your favorite news, sports, and entertainment live all in one app. It's raw and unfiltered. This is the best thing ever. Watch breaking news as it breaks. Breaking tonight, we're following two major stories. His history in the making. Debates, drama, touchdowns. It's all here, baby. Fox 1, we live for live. Streaming now. Are you looking to get into commercial real estate but not sure where to start? Well, you're not alone. For most institutional grade real estate can be hard to access. At 1031 Crowdfunding, we are changing that by providing a premium marketplace of Delaware statutory trust at your fingertips. DSTs are professionally managed real estate portfolios that grant investors access to high barrier sectors like senior housing. Every day, 10,000 Americans turn 65. You don't want to miss your window to invest in one of the fastest growing sectors in real estate. With over $3.4 billion in total transactions and $550 million in senior housing, we've built a platform backed by experience. Create your free account to start investing at 1031crowdfunding.com/SiriusXM. That's the numbers 1031crowdfunding.com/SiriusXM. 1031 Crowdfunding is not a broker-dealer. Securities offered through Capulet LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. Investments involve risk and are not suitable for all investors. Please consult your financial or tax advisor.
Weather is part of the American story. Under stormy skies, down snowbanks, even at Liberty. From the first heat wave to the first frost, Fox Weather is there for you when a storm breaks.
Just wreaking havoc here.
And after it passes,
there is a lot of work to get done, but there's hope to move forward.
we're with you every step of the way.
I'm going to go see if I can help this lady out.
For all seasons, for all America, Fox Weather. Do you owe the IRS back taxes? Haven't filed in years? You're not alone, and you don't have to face it alone. At Tax Network USA, our licensed tax attorneys and IRS enrolled agents specialize in fast, aggressive tax relief. Whether it's personal taxes, business taxes, or aggressive collection notices and liens, our team has proven strategies on how to stop the pressure and settle your tax debt quickly. Tax Network USA has already helped thousands of clients eliminate over $1 billion in back taxes, penalties, and interest, and we may be able to help you too. Call 800-278-9000 for your free consultation. That's 800-278-9000. Or visit tnusa.com. That's tnusa.com. And yes, we can even help you with your state tax issues too. Call 800-278-9000 for your free consultation. Or visit tnusa.com.
Selling your home? Do you know you can get thousands of extra dollars up front just for picking an agent? Yes, that's what happens when you find your agent with Ready.com, REDY.com. With Ready, agents pay thousands of extra dollars bonus cash to you just for the opportunity to sell your home. That's extra money above and beyond the sales price, yours to keep before your home even goes up for sale. And Ready agents are great local agents. Agents on Ready sell homes for 12% more on average. Agents on Ready sell homes months faster. So find your great local agent by going to Ready.com. Get thousands of dollars up front that you'll miss out on if you hire an agent any other way. Sell your home faster and get thousands and thousands more when you sell. Ready is a win-win-win. Selling your home? Don't leave anything on the table. Go to Ready.com. Get extra money when you pick an agent. Get more money when you sell your home.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value for your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Channel 125 and on the SiriusXM app.
He never stops working for the good of the country. Sean Hannity with behind-the-scenes information on today's breaking news. Hannity is on right now.
All right, 25 now till the top of the hour. 800-941-SEAN is our number if you want to be a part of the program. Everyone's always looking for, rightly so, ways to save money. One way to save money, not sacrifice service, is switch to my cell phone provider, a veteran-owned company known as Pure Talk. They use the same cell tower, same 5G network. You get the same exact service, and the average family saves over $1,000 a year. Businesses are saving thousands of dollars a year.
Hey, how's it going, Missy?
With the big carriers, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile.
So much easier to say than
this company. Did the wireless company ever, give away 1,000?
Look at all the new Ford.
Deserving pets. Did they ever forgive
Ranger, Broncos, lots of Broncos.
Raise $500,000 to prevent veteran suicide? Because
this one on the front there, is that another Ranger?
Save money, get the exact same service, same cell tower, same 5G network. But, you can brag about the company that you're doing business with. You'll get unlimited talk and text, plenty of data. Just $25 a month, saving the average family a fortune. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword save now. Do it now. You save an additional 50% off your first month. Pound 250, keyword save now, and make the switch. Pure talk, wireless, worth bragging about. I see. I don't know. It's sort of like when Charlie Kirk was being interviewed by Gavin Newsom. I have no idea where the words Latinx came from. I had never heard it before. Then we went back in the archives and we found example after example. Never supported the right of men to play women's sports, and then we found example after example. I don't know, maybe liberals have bad memories. Latest example, that idiot governor from Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, saying, I've never called Republicans Nazis. Well, we'll play that, and then we'll play him calling Republicans Nazis. Listen.
That is completely false. I have never called Republicans Nazis. Everything that he has done has been tearing down constitutional democracy. And that's what happened in Nazi Germany. It doesn't take very long to tear apart a constitutional republic. Indeed, the Nazis did it in 53 days. And our democracy is almost fragile, and we're seeing it right now. The dangers that we saw in Nazi Germany, especially in the earliest days of Nazi Germany, are the dangers that we need to react to now. It's a 5-alarm fire, everyone.
It's a 5-alarm fire that, all these radical leftists just lie, with unbelievable, casualness and just utter hypocrisy. Let's get to our busy phones. Tyson is in Louisiana. Tyson, hi, how are you? Glad you called.
Hey, Sean, super glad that you were able to take my call. It's an honor to talk to you.
Thank you. The honor's mine.
Yeah, 2 quick points. I'm a 34-year-old here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. A lot of similarities in my life with Charlie Kirk. We're both young men trying to raise our families the right way, the Christian way, if you will. And I think both of us are. I'm not as out as he is, but I like to tell people how it is. If you're going to ask about my faith and my beliefs, I'm going to be blunt with you. I don't know if that's just a southern thing, but that's my first point. Secondly, I do think that there is, I don't know how you put light on this situation, but I read an article Monday that said there was 32,000 Turning Point USA chapters that were being applied for. Did a little bit of homework myself, and if we have,
it is right. 32,000 requests for new Turning Point USA campus chapters. 32,000.
I read that, and I did just a little bit of homework. I know you don't have to be a university to hold a Turning Point USA chapter, but just if we have 6,000 universities, that's over 6,000 applications a university. That just shows that God is working, and I think it's important that as conservatives, as Christians, we remember that it is a scary world that we live in. Though, when these people can assassinate somebody, whether it be Charlie Kirk or Brandon Thompson, the CEO from the United Healthcare, just celebrate death. But just want to encourage you and encourage your audience that God is good and that we have the higher ground because Christ is on our side. But
what's this guy doing? I'm just going to take the middle of the lanes. Okay.
Well, I want to encourage everyone to do exactly what you're doing. And that is, you know what? Don't be timid. Don't be afraid. And you know what? I think this is a moment where conservatives now can be just as plain and outspoken, with patience and love and kindness. Don't be like the radical left, and live by example. And not, it's gotten to the point where I think kids got afraid to even mention their belief in God and mention their faith, and yet most Americans are faithful people. We are generally a very good people. We're not a perfect people. Christians are not perfect people. As a matter of fact, that the prerequisite to first becoming a Christian is to admit that you're wrong. Admit, and acknowledge your fallen state. Acknowledge that you need forgiveness. Acknowledge that you are incapable of changing yourself. The word repentance comes from the Latin to change one's heart. And it's there's been false perceptions of Christianity that are out there. Oh, Christians wants to proselytize. If you want to ask me about my faith, I'll tell you what I believe. And I would not be here today. I can tell you with a certainty without it. That's how important it is to me in my life. And it just is at the core of who I am. Again, not perfect. All have sinned and fallen short, my friend. But I'll explain my journey.
I was just going to say, there's a saying out there. It's you cannot heal a wound by saying it's not there. And that's really the only thing that separates Christians from others, is that we understand we have the wound. We understand we need healing, and that's where Christ comes in. And so, continue to, praise God, if you will, and, keep putting Christ first, and just know that there's hope for us. There's hope in this scary world.
There's a lot of hope in this scary world. One thing as a Christian that you do understand is there's good and there's evil, but we also know how the story ends. We know it's going to get bad, because the Bible's very clear about that in the last days, but we also know how the story ends. And, as we've seen so much vile, putrid, disgusting, repulsive comments of the left, we've also seen incredible acts of kindness and generosity and an awakening in the country that is inspiring. And I maybe should focus more on that aspect of it. Tyson, God bless you in your journey, my friend. Appreciate you calling. Great call. Ross is in my free state of Florida. Ross, how are you? Glad you called, sir.
Hey, Mr. Hannity. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, you for calling. What's going on?
So, number one, Charlie Kirk was one of one. And I think, I'm roughly his age. I got a group of kids myself, and just kind of preparing them for the future. And one thing that just was so amazing about Mr. Kirk was the way that he just had this breadth, this wealth of knowledge, and the conviction he was able to express his ideas of whether it be politics or religion or, civics, history, any of that. And so as somebody that wants to get more involved in this type of, area, where do we start? It's a little bit overwhelming when you listen to him and how
they describe themselves as revolutionary, anti-capitalist, anti-fascist. They call for clear self-determination. Here's a lot of their signs. DeSantis is a fascist man, and the Dragon Book Man. Yeah, good for you guys. I was really surprised by how seamlessly this all happened, and they're talking about why they were there, and she then starts to say,
And I think that was also what's so cool about the Mayday Brigade, which
you're trying to run down all of that, see if that's accurate, who else may have been on that thread, and what they may have known. Is that fair to say?
It's a lot more than that. We're running them all down.
It's a lot more than 20, and you're running all of them.
Every single one.
Yeah, fantastic.
The armed queers of Salt Lake City have started to delete their accounts and gone into hiding. We've got a bunch of details on who they are, what they stand for, and these posts from their social media accounts also shared here today. They're telling us that they have deleted their social media accounts, and they did that the day Charlie Kirk was killed. Here's some of their posts that people grabbed before. Armed queers, Salt Lake City, with the logo. AQ with bullets. They said here on another Instagram story, Charles James Kirk, Mr. College dropout, who's had more success than any of them. We saw this one yesterday. Does not know what's coming. Tomorrow, be ready. This isn't a threat, it's a promise, remember? And so that person, we saw that was being investigated by the FBI. And apparently that was an armed queer. So they had 6,600 followers over on X. You can see over on Instagram. They posted, armed queers are a revolutionary LGBTQ organization dedicated to defense and success for oppressed people's movements. Join us! So they had a bunch of posts on there. They had 6,000 followers, 160 posts, and they've nuked their account. Authorities are now probing them, reviewing online activity of this group and others.
Probing them.
Called Armed Queers, Salt Lake City, a Utah-based group. And here's what they look like. goodness, with the medic bag. Got it. All right. So they're also hosting forums for tech trans children. And we're going to make your straight children trans, whether you like it or not. They have events, Armed Queers, Salt Lake City, hosting forums amongst themselves. And here's their little calling card. Isn't this just amazing? So the 6 principles of Armed Queers Salt Lake City. All right, so here's what they stand for. So 6 principles. Here's one. The armed and militant protection of queer and trans communities and all oppressed people, whatever that means. The end of capitalistic oppression and exploitation and the movement towards a socialist society. They also want number 3, trans liberation from the gender binary and biological essentialism, not assimilation. They're freaking nuts, man. What is this? They want to be liberated from the binary system and biological essentialism. So they want everybody to just be kind of a neutered individual, right? All of the distinctions between men and women gone, all of the biological essentialism, like with things like, like you're born with certain body parts and certain hormonal profiles, and we have different chemicals in our bodies that our bodies make for us, and all these things. So they want to just forget all of that. You're just a neutered like a robot. Chop your genitals off, chop your breasts off, and just be this transhuman kind of creature that society creates under scalpel and pharmaceuticals. And they want more housing as a human right. Yeah, lots of this, right? Everything's a human right. You have a right to everything, including housing. And necessity not to be profited from. And so putting an end to landlordship. So these people are mad at their landlords. Okay, just go buy some property. Make some money and go buy some property. Be your own landlord. So they want government housing. It's a human right. Everybody gets housed, including all the illegals and trans. They also want to abolish police and prisons, as they serve as nothing but oppressors. And here you go, number 6, the end of the bourgeois, which is the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, according to Karl Marx, shall replace them in this new communistic society. Assimilationist LGBTQ organizations, the start of radical queer and trans organizing. Look at this person's disgusting fingernails. What a disgusting person. Of course, that's what they would do. Wash your fingernails out. Wash your hands for once in your life, you disgusting person. According to archive materials and reporting, the group promoted events in 2023 that featured imagery and rhetoric aligned with radical trans themes. And in past interviews, a group representative said the organization's activism was grounded in opposition to racism and transphobia and capitalism, and they accepted personal risks in service of that mission. Now, sources also with knowledge of the investigation told investigators that armed queers took down at least one social media account on the day of Kirk's death. Law enforcement officials are reviewing whether any individuals or networks connected to the group or to other online communities, including gaming platforms and social pages, we saw that yesterday with Discord, had prior knowledge of or provided material support for the shooter, Tyler Robinson, who was dating a trans man. Federal and state authorities are assisting local investigators. They've also collected and cataloged a number of social media posts. Several of those posts have now been deleted or made private. Law enforcement sources caution. They say, well, some of the material appears ominous. Much of it remains unverified, maybe hyperbolic. And as we saw yesterday from Andy No, he posted explaining that even one account just like did that every day, right? We're like, something's going to happen on this day, something's going to happen on this day. Just like, officials have said they're exploring whether the shooter's relationship with his trans roommate may have intersected with all those things. We already saw that yesterday with that Churn of Bird account. That was following the trans roommate, who was also retweeting, "We got it," from Charlie Kirk. So who is that? State officials have continue to review electronic messages and other evidence relevant to the motive. A lot of this stuff is unverified, unofficial, and so, yeah, there is clear political expression that you're allowed to organize, right? Organize, we have free association, we can create our own groups, but were they assisting in the murder? We'll have to find out. Authorities have not announced criminal charges yet. Of course, they will soon. Now, more on this group. She posted this amazing thread, and she explained, you know what? This armed queers situation may be connected to the UN and to the State Department. Actually, it's not a may, it's confirmed. She says, Armed Queers SLC is under investigation for possible foreknowledge of the assassination. Their leader is this person called Ermia Fanian. She was recognized by a State Department-affiliated NGO called Utah Global Diplomacy as a recipient of the 7 for 17 award for advancing the UN's 17 goals, which I guess is to arm queers in America. Utah's Global Diplomacy has since scrubbed her presence from their website, nuked it. Unknown when this purge happened, but the receipts remain, and this is the person, Ermia Fanian. Utah Global Diplomacy. So we know how this goes, right? It goes from like there's one major funder, usually the American taxpayer, goes to like USAID, goes to the State Department, funnels it out to a ton of different organizations, funnels it all back down to a trans militia who may have killed Charlie. Interesting. So they said Utah Global Diplomacy is one of the middlemen. Says that proud to announce our first 7 for 17 award winner, Ermia. The 7 for 17 award recognizes young Utahns who are working to achieve 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in Utah, whatever those are. Yeah, there you go. Check it out. It says Ermia Thamian is a trans liberation and feminist political organizer. So why is the UN funding that crap in our country? Why do we allow that to happen? Why do we allow
I suppose they have the right to do that.
To fund all of this type of stuff? Is it tax exempt? Where's it going? So work has included organizing around the abortion
sovereign country,
and research studying the conditions of gender-oppressed people at the hands of state institutions. So in other words, do we give money to the United Nations? Does any American dollars come into that? And why are we allowing this propaganda to come into our country? So Data Republican says this is what pops up when you search for her name. In connection to Utah Global Diplomacy, they scrubbed everything. Oh, she's not a graduate. She was one of the first people to get it. Now nobody wants to talk about her. It was on there. This looks like it's from a Google cache, right? She's a trans liberation and feminist political organizer who's getting funded by foreign entities to come in here and change American politics and to figure out why trans people are oppressed. Like, no wonder they think that they're so oppressed or need to organize. They're getting tons of money to do so and tons of support. You're a recipient. You're a 717 founder or whatever it is. Oh gosh, none of this infrastructure existed. Maybe they wouldn't exist. Maybe they're being propped up by them explicitly. And yes, she was an organizer with the Armed Queers. Here you see, she clipped this article. Yep, the protest was put on by students for a democratic society in response to the presentation. Another article, the entrance was guarded by 10 police officers. And here, this article says, Ermia Thamian, an organizer for Armed Queers of Salt Lake City, stated the struggle for queer and trans liberation is far from over. And it's a struggle that cannot be stopped by the state. What do you mean, they're going to revolt against the state? It cannot be stopped by the university administration, she said, and it certainly cannot be stopped by right-wing offensive organizations. Today, we fight for trans rights, so that tomorrow, we stand in our trans power. Weirdest cult freak shows you've ever heard of. So here, again, she posted over here, Ermia Thamian. There she is, all over the place. Political organizer and educator with Armed Queers, Salt Lake City. She referenced it. Salt Lake protests. Ermia was there, an organizer with Armed Queers of Salt Lake City. Another one, disruptive protest. Ermia Thamian is a student at the Utah and works as an organizer for Armed Queers. Okay, all over the place. Now she's running away from them because she's like, oh crap, we killed Charlie. So per the 990 form for Utah Global Diplomacy, Data Republican, got the data. It's a nonprofit. It's a partner with the U.S. State Department. Okay, it goes from U.S. State Department, Utah Global Diplomacy to trans militia groups to cultivate emerging leaders in diplomacy initiatives. So in other words, she was selected to help shape U.S. foreign relations. Okay, that's what they said, not Data Republican. Here's the form. To promote and respect the understanding between the people of Utah and other nations. Yeah, UCCD serves as a nonprofit sector partner with the State Department's professional and cultural exchange programs. Yeah, we got it. And they say right there, their goal is to help shape U.S. foreign relations one handshake at a time. And, I'm getting real tired of all this foreign money here. I don't care where it is, with people going on these trips to foreign countries. And I think there's like 250 people, 250 state legislators in Israel right now. It's like, what are you doing? It's a little too close for comfort. Anyways, so Data Republican says Thamian was selected as the Utah Global Diplomacy first 7 for 17 award winner, honoring her work to advance UN's 17 sustainable goals. I'm pulling together the exact nature of the work, and so here it is. She's getting money, it looks like, from us. Utah Global Diplomacy got most of its income in government grants. What a disgusting thing. Utah's Council for Citizen Diplomacy promotes an understanding between Utah and other nations, and it's coming from the U.S. government. Look at that. Government grants. There you go. $500,000 goes right over there. Now, she also finds mention of Thamian on a UN website where she was a speaker at an affiliated event. So she was there talking.
Hey, Jody.
For the fact, which is an interesting concept that's a close cousin to the obstruction of justice charge that we're going to see here today too. Because we've got to talk about Tyler Robinson, the alleged assassin's boyfriend or trans friend or whatever they call themselves. But the interesting thing happened, something interesting happened with their text messages, and I want to see what you say about it. Do you think these are real or not? But quick preview on what we're getting into, and then we'll zoom in on further detail. Tyler Robinson, and by the way, all the case files that we have here, all the PDFs, I took screenshots of everything. They're all organized on our Substack now, so I've got 2 pages over there. All the case files. So if you want to go download all the documents, they're there, and this is what it looks like. So we're going to talk about Tyler Robinson, and we're going to talk about this guy, George Zinn. And he was a very interesting character because he was interfering, obstructing, maybe being an accessory to this whole thing after the fact. We also want to know if anybody else in these chat groups were also accessories after the fact, or if they were co-conspirators before the assassination took place. So all of that linked in the description if you want to go check it out. But we're going to go into the document. So we've got the affidavit of probable cause. We've got the information
run here of just 2 lanes.
And then we've got the public assessment.
Glad they're doing work, but man.
Release, what his failure to appear scale rating is, what his criminal activity scale rating is, and all the details on what they found after he met with the pre-trial people. We've also got reaction on this from this guy who was saying that this was like a beautiful love story between this couple who may or may not have been colluding to kill Charlie, but weird thing that's happening, and I wanted to share this with you because they're trying almost to like love him up, to turn him into something that he isn't, to make him sympathetic and almost follow the same template and pattern that we saw with Luigi Mangione, turning him into a leftist icon or a leftist hero. So we'll go through that. That guy's very excited about that trans relationship. And we'll also hear from Mike Johnson. But we'll then turn our attention to other documents. Okay, so this also came out, courtesy of Ken Klippenstein, and he's got the Discord messages as well. So we've got text messages. Now we've got leaked Discord messages that the government and the officials haven't released to us, and so we'll go through those. We've also got some pretty horrific stories about the first transgender Olympian, this individual right here. Oh my gosh, who is now celebrating Charlie's death like a monster. And Rubio says, let's kick these people out of our country if they're here on a visa and celebrating order. So we'll go through all that. Then we'll turn our attention to George Zinn. Here are the documents here. This is his obstruction case. And we've got the affidavit. Not a lot there. I'm sure the information will be released soon. But we also have his criminal history. You can see he's in the red. Robinson's in the green. He's in the red. And he's been around this a lot. Now, Congress is subpoenaing a bunch of individuals, Discord, or not subpoenaing, rather, inviting Discord, Steam, Twitch, and Reddit to come in and testify about this and see what's inside those messages. Of course, we'll see what that leads to. And then we have a second case for George Zinn. And he, in addition to the obstruction charge, has a whole history of charges in Utah, but also a second case that was related. I mean, he got arrested, they looked at his phone, and boom, here are the charges. 4 counts, exploitation of a minor. Those are not good charges, of course. And so we'll see what that involved because we've got the whole affidavit listed out here about what he was saying and all sorts of stuff.
Well, some big old rods there.
A lot to get you today, my friends. Very glad that you're here.
Steel rods.
With us. We appreciate you joining us. I hope your week is unfolding beautifully. We had a great members-only stream this morning. We're talking about
heavy.
a little bit of the fracture that seemingly is happening in the Republican Party. We saw Tucker and Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens explaining their take on Charlie Kirk's legacy, and we saw a lot of reaction to that. We talked about all that this morning. There'll be a segment coming out on that, and it is a juicy battle that's happening. So we had a great conversation about that this morning with our members. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting our work here as a member. Thank you for subscribing to our channel and all the things. We're very glad that you're here and with us. All right, now let's get into it on the day. Charges now brought against the Charlie Kirk assassin named Tyler James Robinson.
Did they do this
We've
yesterday?
got the affidavit queued up here.
I should
And
just
we've got
stop bringing
all of
this
the
up.
other documents
Oh,
related
you got
to
the
his
written,
initial
the written.
appearance, which took place yesterday. Now, the big reveal was this from the criminal information. And we heard a full press briefing about this yesterday, about 45 minutes. And essentially, they were just reading through the police report and giving us the details. So we'll do that here, I think, much more effectively. But the big reveal was about these text messages. There's some strange stuff going on with these text messages.
Yeah, they look, I don't know.
And the real big question, of course, is it real?
Yeah.
Or was the very first message that says, drop what you're doing and look under my keyboard, was that a set of instructions to engage in a ruse that took place, that followed, in order to exonerate this dude's trans lover? Well, we'll see what the text said. So all that is coming up. And we've got the public safety assessment report.
Rod Stewart.
It gives us some details on what
Precious
they
cargo.
think of Tyler Robinson's criminality. So we'll go through all that. But as we're reading through this, there's this concept called accessory after the fact. Okay, somebody commits a crime and you help them after it's over. A lot of what we've been talking about is who was involved in the planning of this. Okay, who was in the trans groups, the Discord groups, the text message groups, the chains, who was endorsing this, encouraging it, maybe providing aid, maybe providing assistance, saying, we'll actually help you with this. We'll pick up the rifle at the drop point, all the things that we've heard about. But that's all before the assassination takes place. What happens after the fact? Well, accessory after the fact may be one possible option for investigation and prosecution. Telling us over from Cornell that an accessory after the fact is someone who assists one, so it's like sub checkboxes, someone who has committed a crime, political assassination, murder, check that box. After the person has committed the crime, you assist them. It's over. So you can say that dropping to your knees and faking an arrest, saying that I'm the shooter, is maybe an accessory after the fact. Of course, we're talking about George Zinn. But what about other people who may have been helping him stay in hiding for those 33 hours after the shooting took place? Now, with the knowledge that the person committed the crime, so now you're made aware, oh, that person's a criminal, they shot somebody, and now that Charlie Kirk is dead. And 4, with the intent to help that person avoid arrest or punishment. An accessory after the fact may be held liable for, among other things, obstruction of justice, which George Zinn was charged with. But Title 18 of the U.S. Code codifies this thing. And it's the government's burden to prove that you were assisting this person after the crime occurred. So that, of course, coming over from Cornell, and we're keeping that pinned in our brains as we're analyzing the rest of the documents. So here's what we've got. In the case of Tyler James Robinson, the alleged assassin of Charlie Kirk, who is now in custody after apparently an admission from him by his parents, who then brought him into federal law enforcement custody, who has now not apparently confessed to anything, right? Being completely uncooperative now that he's in custody. But this was the first in time narrative that we get, the affidavit of probable cause. And I believe this was actually leaked by
being a smart criminal, isn't it?
So
I mean, you don't talk to anybody but
we
your
also
lawyer.
have the criminal information, which is a much broader document that is going to be presented on his initial appearance. So this document, the probable cause, is essentially to keep him in custody, and then the next statement is to put some meat on those bones as the prosecution moves forward, so the judge can say, okay, yeah, we're going to hold you in custody, this is the nature of the release conditions, we're going to appoint you a lawyer and other things. So this is where this starts. This individual is saying, I believe there's probable cause. His name is Brian Davis, who is on behalf of the government. Brian Davis says the following. All right, this information was obtained from your affiant, from police officers, multiple video recordings on social media websites, the Utah Valley University campus surveillance cameras, and those who witnessed the incident. Okay, so big batch of sources here. On September 10th, Charles James Kirk, rest in peace, was at the Utah Valley University for a political event. Now, Mr. Kirk is a conservative political activist who's scheduled to speak there, and the courtyard area is to the west of the Lossy Center. Now, according to video recordings, Charlie was wearing a white t-shirt and dark pants, sitting under a white canopy in the courtyard of the campus facing to the east. The event was attended by hundreds of individuals. Charlie was surrounded by people, with multiple individuals to his left, right, rear, and the front of the canopy. Behind the canopy was a walkway used for access to the university. Now, Charlie was holding a microphone and speaking to the crowd, like a maniac person, right, with a microphone, wrecking America like a fascist with a microphone, as they say. While speaking into the microphone, they shot him. A loud gunshot was heard at 12:23 hours, and Charlie appeared to have been hit in the neck. Blood was seen coming out of the left side of his neck as he fell over to his left. We're all still traumatized by that. Charles was transported to the Timpanogos Regional Hospital, pronounced dead at the hospital. Investigators reviewed the surveillance cameras. Who did this? While reviewing the cameras, investigators observed an individual on the rooftop of the center at the time of the shooting. Hereafter, the unidentified individual will be referred to as the suspect. Now, based on the surveillance camera footage, the suspect appears to be a white male, dark-colored hair, wearing a dark-colored hat, sunglasses, a long-sleeve black shirt with a picture of an American flag and an eagle printed on the shirt, dark-colored jeans, white-gray shoes with white-colored shoelaces. The shoes appear to be consistent with Chuck Taylor Converse-style shoes. The suspect is also carrying a dark-colored backpack on his back. The suspect walks with a distinctive gait, probably the rifle there in the pant leg. Now, prior to the shooting, suspect appears to walk with a stiff right leg at a relatively slow pace, and the ability to bend his right leg appears to be restricted. Investigators were able to track his movements on the university campus starting at approximately 11:50 on 9/10, right? And this is before we got the idea that he changed his clothes. So they pick him up late. We learn later, I think we're going to see, that he was actually on campus earlier. He just changed his clothes. So they walked it. Who's the guy in this outfit? They just backtraced it. Oh, pick him up at 11:50. So then at 11:50, a surveillance camera first captured the suspect walking across a grassy area of the North Campus Drive at 800 West. He walked south through the parking lot and approached a pedestrian tunnel that runs underneath the campus. Before entering the tunnel, he paused at the top of the stairs and pulled out what appeared to be a cell phone from his right pocket, using his right hand at approximately 11:53. Now, he eventually put what appeared to be a cell phone back in his right pocket using his right hand. So, was he just checking the time? Was he just looking at the time or the date, saying, anybody text me? Or did he use it? Surveillance captured the suspect making his way. Was he texting somebody? I'm about to be in position or something. At approximately 12:02, suspect was reported walking on the north side of the Lossy Center building, walking with the same gait as earlier. He entered the Lossy Center building through a set of doors in the southeast corner of the center building. At 12:15, he was then observed walking up the stairs that led to the common area adjacent to the building. He then walked to a short concrete wall that separates the common area from the rooftop of the building, and then at 12:17, climbed over the short wall, appeared to crouch down on the north side of the wall on the rooftop. Then at 12:22, he stood up and started running across the rooftop of the Lossy Center. The notable limp, absent. He ran to the west side of the rooftop and appeared to scoot along the rooftop area as he got closer to the edge. Then at 12:22, he laid down in a position consistent with the prone shooting position near the edge of the rooftop in the direction of the courtyard area. The rooftop of the Lossy Center overlooks the courtyard area. And then at approximately 12:23, Charlie Kirk was shot, right? We noted that at the beginning. It's like, man, that dude got in position. At 12:22, a shot rang out 60 seconds later. It was a direct hit. And he got on the roof pretty quickly. He's like racing over there. Then he climbed over. He's at approximately stood up and started running across the roof. Okay, so it's like running, drops down. He's in position at 12:22. 1 minute later, shot goes off. Then surveillance shows he pops right back up. Stood up suddenly from the edge. And, like I know there's a lot of very, very excellent, firearms people out there. Imagine that's kind of a tough thing to do. Is just run, lay down, make the shot, hit the shot, get up and sprint back out of there, which is interesting. I mean, it's got proficiency with the firearm. He's not sitting there lying in wait, waiting for the perfect time, waiting for 10 minutes until Charlie Kirk and all the people are moving out of the way, waiting for the opportune time. So Charlie sits back and puts the mic down. He's got a clean shot. He just made it happen, right? He went down, boom, got in position, shot, and was up. So, I mean, that says something about who we're dealing with. And that's, I think, a characteristic we want to validate that this dude is capable of that. At approximately 12:23, surveillance shows he stood back up and sprinted on the rooftop of the building. He then ran to the northeast corner of the building and approached the edge of the rooftop. He then placed a dark-colored item on the rooftop and proceeded to lower himself off. He then dropped off the rooftop onto the grass below. He ran north near the parking lot at approximately 12:24 hours, like a minute later, and he's saying it's a dark-colored item, so he can't tell if it's the gun. What is it? Is it the backpack being thrown off? What is it? Suspect dropped off the rooftop, then ran north near the parking lot. 12:24, runs across Campus Drive Road, then appeared to be carrying an item, can't tell what it is. The area to the north of the Campus Drive Road, where the suspect crossed over, consists of a grassy area and is at the edge of the campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. Cash Patel says they've got a DNA evidence matched to this dude. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98. 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on this, including, "Notice this bulge. What's this?" with the kind of emoji like the big eyes. Inscriptions on 3 unfired casings called "Hey Fascist, Catch," up arrow symbol, right arrow symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired case saying, "Oh, Bella Ciao, we know that one. And then, of course, if you read this, you're gay one. Now, investigators also discovered a shoe impression, and it was located in the vicinity where he climbed down from the rooftop. The impression is consistent, again, with the shoes called Converses. Now, on the evening of September 11th, so the shooting happens at 12:23. We've got on the evening of September 11th, so September 10th, Charlie died, so now kind of over 24 hours of the evening. Family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend, contacted the sheriff, saying that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he did it. The information was then relayed to Utah sheriff and scene investigators and was also conveyed to the FBI. Then investigators reviewed additional video footage from surveillance and identified Robinson on the campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at 8:29. Okay, so he was on the campus much earlier on September 10th. And he's observed in that video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person, he was observed in consistent clothing with the surveillance images. Same, scale we run here. Same brand, same sizes, just different shapes and colors. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson, who stated that Robinson had become more political in hate. The family member stated that, or the shooter? The family member also confirmed that Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. All right, so we have 2 people who think that Charlie's bad, or is it just the one guy? Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson, Lance. Investigators interviewed the roommate, who stated that his roommate, Robinson, made a joke. It's just a joke on Discord. He says, "Oh, no, I don't know what he's talking about. It's just a joke." Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord, and he opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. Why would he say that? If he got, as we're going to see, he got a clear confession, allegedly, from Tyler Robinson, as we're going to see. Tyler Robinson, so just to fast forward on this, in the criminal information, which we'll come into next. Back down here, we're going to see in the text messages, "You were the one who did it, right?" "I am. I'm sorry. I did do it." Okay, we're going to read through this. "What? You're joking, right? You're joking, right?" Kind of over-engineered a little bit. We'll come back to this. But it's interesting. So if the roommate, or the Lance Twiggs, the trans boyfriend, who's the roommate.
Eggsy.
If he has a full-blown confession in these messages, why was he reporting to the cops as soon as they showed up? Oh, he just made a joke on Discord. Okay. But what about the text messages that he sent to you where he admitted it? The investigators asked him to show us. He did. He showed them several messages, and he allowed them to take photos of the screens of the messages. Now, these photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact Tyler with an emoji.
She's been pretty quiet.
What emoji? I don't know. And Robinson's roommate's device, the content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating he needed to retrieve a rifle from a drop point. Does that sound like a joke to you? Leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. Huh? Is that all jokey? It's like, oh, he just made a joke on Discord? What? Let me see the joke that you're talking about there, Lance. What kind of jokes do you guys tell? Oh, murder jokes. Got it. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope in the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. Now, based on the evidence detailed, I believe there's probable cause that Tyler Robinson committed the crimes of aggravated murder of Charlie Kirk and put many around him in grave risk, and the felony discharge of firearm, obstruction of justice for hiding the rifle, and all of that submitted initially. Okay, this was entered back on 9/12, and we saw that the Crowder crew leaked a lot of that for us. But then we got the criminal information, which is now submitted as a part of his initial appearance. We get some more facts submitted that we can apply. Here are the charges. Of course, count 1, aggravated murder. He knowingly killed Charlie Kirk because he's a monster. Now, conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty, and they announced that yesterday during the proceedings. They also say they targeted Charlie Kirk because of his political expression, so they're going to add a sentencing enhancement if they get a conviction. They say if we find that he targeted somebody based on their political views, that can be an aggravating factor. So when we talk about felonies, we have a lot of these charts that you can kind of just move up and down in charts. You have aggravating factors that will move towards a stronger, higher sentence, and you can have mitigating factors that will push you back towards a mitigated, lesser sentence. Now, this was also an aggravating factor. There were children.
No, hopefully not.
Shot and killed Charlie.
I'm gonna grab some steak at Harry's Steakhouse, and then I'm gonna go. I gotta go set up a couple things at
because
the Cleveland office.
And removed the firearm, second-degree felony.
But if I'm the only one there, I'll bring you guys inside with me.
Other charges that have been added here.
It just
so
depends.
The initial first three were the first three that we saw. Then they've added tampering with a witness, which is related to his roommates.
I'm still about a half hour away from dinner time.
And directing his roommate, this is the action, to delete the incriminating text messages. Okay. Now, did the roommate do that at all? Because we're going to see the story about look under my keyboard, and there's a note there. So look at that note and then respond after you've read that note. So yes, he directed, so we can charge him tampering with a witness. But was the roommate an accomplice after the fact? Did the roommate know and actually maybe delete something? Or do something differently based on the note? The note comes out. Maybe he takes a picture of that note. That's the fake note. It's not the real note. The real note says, hey, we're going to have a ruse coming up here. So just nuke this because I want to make sure you don't get in trouble. And then just play this game with me where we have this conversation back and forth. So we also have count 6, tampering with a witness, third-degree felony, saying that he directed his roommate to stay silent if police questioned the roommate.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the roommate sounds like
but for some reason, you put him on the bench.
The roommate would have a ruse. Okay, if the roommate comes in and the roommate's like, I'm not saying anything, you're all screwed, I'm not giving access to anything, blah, blah, blah.
Which I'm cool with. You can leave him on the bench.
A co-conspirator.
I mean, I did my due diligence telling you needed to replace your kicker. Especially since you're playing me this week.
Going on out there these days. Well, I didn't know, like, political violence. I've never called anybody a Nazi ever. Oh, yeah, you did, PB&J. You got 15 different posts about it showing the same. So a lot of this, right? So here you have another one, a misdemeanor, violence committed in the presence of a child. And here's the full statement from the same investigator, Brian Davis of the State Bureau of Investigations. He says,
that's what it looks like.
on September 10th at 12:23, Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while speaking to a large crowd in Utah. Police found the suspected murder weapon, a bolt-action .30-06 rifle nearby. Now, over the next approximately 33 hours, and a lot of people are going, oh gosh, pretty decent, dude. Police conducted a manhunt for the shooter until the evening of September 11, 2025, when Tyler James Robinson surrendered at the sheriff's office. Now, DNA consistent with Robinson was found on the rifle's trigger. Now, after the shooting, Robinson hid the gun, count 3, discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle, and told his lover roommate to delete incriminating text messages and not to talk to the police. Children were present at the time, so this guy's got 7 counts now. Now, they give us more background on Turning Point. We say Turning Point's a nonprofit organization founded in 2012 by Charlie Kirk, and they organized a public outdoor event on September 10th. The event was the first in a series of similar events that they were going to be holding across the nation. He's a well-known conservative activist, discussed various political issues with audience members, and they've garnered a significant number of supporters, and they were a lot of fun. Now, the event in Utah was announced far in advance and garnered significant publicity and interest, and consequently, several hundred people came. Mr. Kirk was interacting with the crowd before the event officially got underway. Then, approximately at noon, Mr. Kirk seated himself under a portable canopy behind a table and a microphone to have a conversation. He began speaking to the crowd and fielding questions from the attendees, a format Mr. Kirk commonly used, and he allowed questioners to come talk to him. Now, Kirk's team members were very close to him on his right and left.
Hey, Brandon.
Some behind his canopy and others in various close locations near him.
What's up, buddy? Everybody's over on Rumble. If you don't mind popping over there for a moment.
Metal fencing separated the attendees.
I could really use the unique chat. I think we're pretty close to having all 20 for the month.
Were the Hall of Flags, an indoor walkway spanning several hundred feet with floor-to-ceiling glass windows to overlook the plaza. We saw some videos from inside there, right? People were like filming, and you can see the shooter kind of running across the roof. People were in the walkway at the time of the shooting. Now, approximately 15 minutes into the event, Mr. Kirk was answering a question about mass shootings by transgender individuals when a transgender lover who's dating a transgender shot him. A gunshot rang out. The bullet struck Mr. Kirk in the neck. He slumped to the ground almost immediately. The bullet's trajectory passed closely to several other individuals beside Mr. Kirk, including the questioner who was standing directly
that's cool.
Mr. Kirk.
I got a little bit of work to do tomorrow, and then I got another business meeting about the bar. So
Mr. Kirk was rushed to a hospital and declared dead. The medical examiner's report is still pending. And as far as we know, they haven't found a bullet or have any aftermath ballistics that we can.
Thank you, Brennan. I appreciate it, brother.
Of the shot, a police officer from Utah was watching the crowd from an elevated vantage point. As soon as he heard the shot, he began to scan the area for threats. Believing the shot came from a rifle because of its sound, he looked for a potential sniper and sniper positions. He noted a roof approximately 160 yards away from Mr. Kirk as a potential shooting position, and he rushed over there, this cop, to look for evidence. The suspected shooting position is adjacent to an open, publicly accessible walkway. To access the location, a person must climb over a railing, then drop to the roof, only slightly below. The officer climbed over the railing and down onto the roof. He then walked to the shooting position suspected and confirmed a clear shooting corridor between the position and Mr. Kirk's seat. He also noticed markings in the gravel rooftop, consistent with the sniper having lain on the roof. Impressions in the gravel potentially left by the elbows, knees, and feet of the person lying in the prone position. So that's the first dude on the scene. Police reviewed surveillance from the camera covering the roof and discovered that it did record an individual dressed in dark clothing cross the railing from the public walkway and drop onto the roof at 12:15. Although the individual moved out of the camera's view for a short time, the camera again captured the individual running across the roof and then low crawling to the area that the other officer thought he was where he had dropped into the prone shooting position. So a cop comes up, he's like, he's probably right here. Lots of evidence right here.
Really?
They say, that's where he's supposed to be. After a short time, which matches the known time of
the Sherpas start taking over.
The individual turned and ran across the roof to the northeast. Goes over, lies in position, don't see it, anything. Shot goes off, he pops back up.
Or is it the monks?
This discovery led
the monks taking over
of the surveillance report
I'll have to
to
look
try
it
to
up.
track and identify this guy. Surveillance revealed the following. At approximately 11:51 a.m., the day of, he entered the campus from the north.
Yep.
Now he's seen wearing a black shirt with
Everybody
an
gonna hit their brakes. It's already got someone pulled over.
We saw the photos. Throughout the surveillance, he keeps his head down, rarely raises his head enough to get a clear image of his face, kind of hiding behind the bill of the cap. As he proceeds across the campus, he is seen walking with an unusual gait, and he suspects that's where the gun is. The suspect walks with very little bending in his right leg, consistent with the rifle being hidden in his pants. This unusual gait continues until the suspect is seen crossing the railing off the open walkway and onto the roof, where he leaves the camera's view. Now, a camera later captures the suspect as he runs across the roof to the suspected shooting position. Immediately after the shot is fired, the camera then captures him again, running across the roof carrying an item, which looks like it's a shape consistent with a rifle. He is then seen climbing down from the roof. He appears to drop the item he was carrying,
That's crazy.
the rifle, as he hits the ground in a controlled fall. He then picks up the item and runs towards the northeast end of the campus. Okay, all this is happening fast. Right after the shot, he pops back up. We saw the timeline before. So he's not assembling, he's not disassembling or reassembling the firearm, right? The idea was, well, where is the gun when he's dropping off the roof? We can't see it. It's all pixelated. So some people say, well, there's a screwdriver up there. Cash Patel also said there was a screwdriver somewhere. So maybe he used the screwdriver to take the bolt out, take the barrel out, and kind of shove it in there into the backpack so that you can't see the gun when he's dropping off the roof. Or maybe the gun is just not visible because it's so far away and it's all pixelated and just looks like kind of a bulky object in the aftermath. So then they see him pop off the roof and run. So then law enforcement officers, they follow the escape path to the northeast end of the campus, where they believe he left campus and entered a wooded area nearby. In that wooded area, investigators found a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel. The rifle contained 1 spent round and 3 unspent rounds. This is consistent with the facts officers observed at the time of and immediately after the shooting. No shell casings were found on the roof, suggesting a bolt action rather than auto-loaded weapon, and only a single round was fired, so we didn't eject anything. Each round in the rifle contained an etched inscription as follows: fired cartridge, and we get a little bit more detail because this is capitalized, and notice his bulge.
Oh, nice.
It's like an emoji face, I think, like, you know, like what? Like big eyes. What's this? And we think this is a furry type of thing because they are talking about their genitals or something. Then there's a second cartridge.
You'll be smelling fresh in there for a long time then.
Good. And there's arrow symbols. And many people are saying that this is, it's kind of, you know, a double entendre. So it kind of means 2 things. One, the arrow symbols means that this is from a video game called Helldivers. And it's like a call for backup or something. But you could also say it's got a double meaning, right? So it's like, oh no, because you know how people just say, yeah, I mean, like, hopefully they don't get killed in a video game. You know, people say that. Oh no, we don't want anything bad to happen to them, you know, in Minecraft, or what people say. It's still in Minecraft, you know, because, oh, it's just a video game. We're not talking about actually killing anybody. We're just talking about falling off in Minecraft, right? Everybody kind of adds that to the end. So like, no, I'm not engaging in political violence because I'm just talking about video games. So kind of the same thing. Hey, fascists, catch
I'm not a big fan myself. I like the little vent ones for the car, though, the air vent.
Okay. So then, Bella Ciao.
They dry out too fast, though. So that air is shooting through them all the time.
No, we're not. So the rifle ammunition rounds and towel were sent for forensic processing. DNA consistent with Robinson's was found on the trigger, other parts of the rifle, the fired cartridge casing, 2 of the 3 unfired cartridges, and a towel. Law enforcement was unable to immediately locate the shooter, so they published the photos, asked for the public's help. Meanwhile, they tried to identify him through other means. And I thought it was weird that they couldn't identify him. I mean, my thought was, okay, it's not a Utah person. It's somebody from out of state. And so, yeah, you got 50 states to look at and think through. But they, I mean, I don't know if they checked the Utah DMV. I would imagine they would. But the guy probably has his photograph in their database, you know? So, okay, you you do a search. There's 100 people who kind of look like this, kind of a tall, skinny white dude with these facial features. Get us 100, get us 200 names, then start going through them. Okay, that guy's too old, that guy's too fat, that guy's too whatever, too far away, whatever. You'll ask some questions. Hey, where were you on September 10th? Oh, you were on campus. Get out of here. So you can start parsing through that way. Maybe they were doing that. I don't know. But I've represented people in Arizona charged with basically fraud or forgery, essentially, for trying to create fake MVD photos. Try to use somebody else's ID, go in, they have two photos, and just kind of matching them up. You say, that's not you. Rob, took a photo on this date because you're actually Rob, but then your little brother, who happens to look like him, came in and took a photo and used your name so that he could get an ID with his picture on it using your information. He matched the photos up. You say, he's not you. Eric is not you. You look alike, but it's not you. So somebody's lying here. You need to come in and explain yourself. That happens automatically, right? So if they can get that good on facial features and facial recognition and connect the dots on that, how did they not just find this dude? It's honestly, he's probably got a driver's license in the DMV database. So, all right, so they couldn't find him. They're looking, it's complicated. So on evening of September 11th, as law enforcement continued their investigation, Tyler, the shooter, went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parents and a family friend and turned himself in. Now, Robinson's mother stated the following to the police. She said on September 11th, the day after the shooting, Mom saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought, oh, crap, it looks like my son. Mom called her son and said, son, where are you? He said, I'm home. I'm at home. I'm sick. And that he had also been at home sick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looks like Robinson. Father says, yeah, it does. Now, Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, the son had become more political and had started to lean more to the left. Yeah. Becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. The brainwashing coming into full effect. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning gender.
Yeah, it is.
This resulted in several discussions with family members. What are you doing?
It's about 15, 20 minutes farther.
Robinson and his father were very different.
Depending on traffic.
So is this son rebelling against?
The bowling is nice and close.
You're not my father, and I'm going to go take out somebody that Dad maybe likes. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event in Utah, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event, and he accused Charlie of spreading hate, which is fake. Now, Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter, he agreed it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle the police suspected the shooter used matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. And I believe I don't think they officially released a photo. There is a photo going around that I think was leaked to the New York Post. Oh my God. So I'd like to see the official gun, and it's like a grainy photo. It's like ridiculous that the New York Post had. It was like, just can you give us a little bit higher resolution of the photo, or did you take that with the potato? Because they took it with the potato. Now, as a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. Son, where's the rifle at? Robinson did not respond. However, Dad spoke on the phone with Son. Son implied, Dad, I'm going to kill myself. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. Well, don't do that, just come over here. So as they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter. So he implied. Now, and stated that he couldn't go to jail. I'm not going to jail. I did it. I just want to end it. When asked why he did it, Tyler explained that there was too much evil, and the guy, Charlie, spreads too much hate. Where did he get that idea? Now, they talked about Robinson turning himself in, and they convinced Tyler to speak with a family friend who's a retired deputy sheriff. Jail's not that bad. We'll be okay. We're going to go through the process. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with the Robinsons, and his parents convinced himself to turn himself in. Which is admirable, of parents to do that. And I think if they were like trans leftist freakoids, they might have covered this whole thing up, right? But what if they agree with it? What if the parents were like, yeah, actually, we're going to be transitioning our newest babies right now? Would they have turned it in? I don't know. If it was one of these people, like you saw these people celebrating on TikTok and all over the internet, if that was their kid, do you think that they would have turned them in? Of course not. Now, the family friend spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it would be his best if he brought all the evidence with him to the sheriff's office. Like, okay, bring everything you got. Otherwise, we're going to come and tear your house apart. The family friend, which they did anyways, the family friend also asked Robinson, do you have any clothes that were related to what you did? He replied he had disposed of the clothes in different areas, which I'm sure they're hopefully corroborating. Then we get to the roommate. Police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson, called Lance Twiggs. And we've got a lot of this queued up on Substack. So we've got two documents, 2 pages over here on Substack now. We've got the case files link that has all the PDFs and all the documents. We've also got the main assassination details. Which
they have quite a few charges.
All the other witnesses and everybody else involved.
Yeah.
And so we had here.
I think the feds will probably let them go ahead and do the murder. I mean, he might be able to get charged with some communication stuff and all that. But
we're back. The roommate, they say,
easier for Utah to actually
the roommate told police that the
deal with it.
Received
we'll see. It's complicated.
And he provided
egos come into play, especially with the feds.
How it went down. On September 10th, 2022, which obviously is a typo, which is pretty ridiculous. The roommate received a text message from Robinson, which said, "Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard." That's message 1. The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note. Now, the roommate reports that note says the following. I don't know why he would write this note. "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note, which is weird. So the roommate destroyed a note. But there's a photo of it. Did the roommate destroy the actual note, the real note, as well, and just not take a photo of that one? And why would, if he's about to confess, as he's about to, and say he did it, why did he have to write a little stupid note about it? Like, he's not hiding anything. You write a note because you want to communicate something without actually texting it, okay, so that there's no trace of it. It's a physical note under the keyboard. This is my contingency plan. If I'm going to get caught, to say that the note says, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it," and then 2 seconds later sending a text saying, "I'm going to take out, I'm the guy who took out Charlie Kirk," there's no tactical benefit of that. There's no logical reason to even write that note. Because you're just going to explain it. You're just going to tell the person in the next text message. So why would you write that? It doesn't feel real. It feels like there was an actual note under the keyboard that gave this person instructions on what to do. And the person did the thing. And then has some notes, which we'd love to see a photograph of, and do some, handwriting analysis. Did he handwrite this note? Was it a printed note? What was it? But the one note was gone. Okay, so we know that Lance is okay deleting notes because we don't actually have the physical note. We only have a photograph of the note. So bizarre. Okay, drop what you're doing. Look under the keyboard. Feels like a total ruse. Everything coming next.
Yeah, it was hauling
I
ass.
think you can look out with a skeptical eye. And again, I don't know that it means anything really. I mean, I think that other than trying to exonerate this person and disassociate and decouple from this boyfriend, I don't know what else could be in there. Let's see if we have any hints. Now, the following text message exchange then took place. Now, after reading the note, the roommate responded, "What?" Exclamation, question. "You're joking, right?" So the ruse begins. Robinson says, "I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet.
Yeah, that is a G.
Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle."
Lots of them around here.
"To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you." Okay, you weren't the one who did it, right? I am. I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Roommate says, why? Why did I do it? Yeah, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence except this note, except this series of text messages. So, and we've said this before, there's that movie called Minority Report, and they have this conversation about an orgy of evidence, right? The idea is, from TV tropes, they write a common tactic for fictional criminals is to plant false clues, right? This was in the film. And what happened is Tom Cruise was like set up, right? You walk in and all of like photographs of all this stuff. And so he's going to kill the dude because he sees it right there on display. It's like, what is it? So when you see stuff that's kind of over engineered, like if the guy, why would he write a note saying, I killed Charlie Kirk, read it immediately, and I'm going to just explain the rest of it over text? Like, what's the point of that? To be dramatic? Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they've moved on. I have seen everything. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. So like the dude is fleshing out like his entire crime in this text that he warned the person about. Question from the roommate. How long have you been planning this? And there's these ... here in the transcript, which is also interesting. You know, ... normally means like you're kind of leaving stuff out, right? ... cut out a bunch of the sentence, and you pick it back up. So what is that? And I've also got questions about this transcription in general. So there's no photographs, okay? So if they took photographs, which they did, they admitted it, in the prior probable cause affidavit, then why don't we see the pictures that they took? And did some cop somewhere transcribe these? Is this why we see like vehicle lingering and some of these other things? Explaining it all out. And I wanted to grab my rifle from my drop point, not the drop point, shortly after, but then it got locked down. So we've got no time stamps on this, so we don't know when this happened, how much time was between each meeting, and obviously somebody is transcribing this, okay? So somebody's looking at the images, typing them into this court document, and translating it in some way, shape, and form. Are they summarizing it? Is it verbatim? Normally, when they're summarizing something, they would say, oh, we're summarizing it. The following text exchange then took place. We would imagine that that's verbatim, but we don't know. And I don't know what those ... mean. Was there more? Was it just a time period?
I do that a lot when I'm typing, though. Just letting you know that I'm kind of pausing.
And it's not just going down to a new paragraph. So is something being cut out of this? Now, roommate says, how long have you been planning this? A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it, ... something's cut out. So then Robinson comes back, and I think that there was something cut out, because wouldn't this dude respond? And like, what's the time difference between this? So would he have responded, or was it just like 5 minutes later, and the roommate's just like just sitting there.
This is as busy as I've ever seen it.
Robinson says, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried
it is the hilly part of Cleveland.
If I don't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't even know if it had a serial number on it, which is interesting, but it wouldn't trace to me. Okay, so go back to Grandpa, and then go back to you? I worry about Prince. I had time to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or the time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find Prince. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? Yeah, the effing messages are mostly a big meme. If I see Notice's bulge on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really effing
Yeah, this is the restaurant.
Judging from today, I'd say Grand
Steakhouse
does just fine. I don't know. So I think
that was
a $2,000 scope. tears emojis. Okay, tears emojis.
Okay,
Then we get another
confirming.
dot, which leads me to believe that they're cutting something out. Don't know what it is.
Cool.
Or it's just like
all right, I'm gonna run in
maybe
later,
photograph.
guys. I will go live again.
Why are they